So by now you should be a master of um, algebraic expressions, and so now we're going to talk a little bit about how we can make maybe a little bit of use of them. And if you recall before, I talked about we had this game where there's you and you have a friend, and this was to do with constructing polynomials, and we're going to do a similar thing but for expressions. So let's get into what I mean by that. So your friend is going to have two numbers. Just in this example, they don't have to have two numbers, but let's say that your friend has the numbers 3 and 7, and they know that, but you do not know that. And so what your friend does is they say to you, hey, my number's 3 plus 7. When I add my two numbers together, I get 10. So this is what it looks like from your friend's perspective. But from your perspective, you just know that they have two numbers, x and y. And you know that x plus y is equal to 10. And now what you can do is, we're kind of talking about how we can rearrange this. So let's say that I just wanted to isolate x on its own. So what I can do is, instead of just taking away just a random number, like taking away 7 or taking away 5, it doesn't really matter what y is, we can take it away from both sides of this equation. So just like before. So if I take y away from this side, this is just going to go to 0. So we're going to be left with just x. So x is equal to 10 minus y. So you can say to your friend, hey, I don't know what your numbers are, but I can tell you that one of your numbers is going to be 10 take away the other. So let's look at another example. And let's say that you are the one that picks the numbers this time, and you tell your friend a relationship between them. So let's say that you have the numbers, I don't know, let's go with 6 and 10. And now instead of adding them, you're going to tell your friend, hey, I have my numbers, when I times them together, I get 60. Right, so the way that your friend hears this, they don't know what your numbers are, so they're just going to call them x and y. And they know that x times by y, so that's xy, is equal to 60. And they want to find a relationship between one of the between these two numbers. Now this on its own can actually be representative of the relationship. It's not invalid to say that this statement is true, but let's say you just want to find one of the numbers in terms of the other. So if I had a y already given, then I would know what x is. Right, so what do I mean by that? So what we're going to do is we're just going to divide both sides by y. I want to find x on its own. So if I divide this entire term here, xy, if I divide this by y, and y is non-zero, then we're going to be left with x is 60 divided by y. And we've isolated this term here, x, and that's what we were after. So that's good. And I'm going to talk about this as a little bit more next time, but what we've seen here is that you might not necessarily always have enough information to give exactly what two numbers your friend started with. But if you had a little more information accessible to you, then you can actually find the exact two numbers that your friend started with, and I'll talk about that a little more next time.